Welcome back to another video, and today we're going to talk about the 2005 direct-to-video disaster movie, Nature Unleashed, Earthquake. This was requested by Meteor Limeade. Meteor Limeade, I hope you're going to have fun with this one. Okay, the plot real quick. Let's get into that real quick, because I'm ready to get this over with. The plot, you have a group of workers at a chemical plant in Russia. They are caught in a massive earthquake that triggers explosions and toxic leaks, turning this disaster into a race for survival. And that is the plot here to the movie. I barely made it out because it felt like, my brain swells. I said brain swells. See, this movie will cause brain swelling. Just the mere mention of this movie is causing my words to stumble. Because I meant to say brain sweat. See, there I go again. I meant to say brain cells, and look what's happening. I am losing every bit of that as we're speaking. Because I meant to say cells, and I said brain swells. And this movie will make your brain swell. Because it is a piece of crap. This movie, and that's putting it lightly, this movie is just forgettable. The characters are forgettable. I did not care for anyone in this movie. The acting overall is awful. The lead actor, I think I recognize him because I've seen Game of Thrones. He played a character in season 2. I don't remember the character, but this actor, Fenton McKeown, I can't pronounce his last name, but this man, or this actor, he is not a leading man. He is not a leading actor, and he is as bland as freaking, a whole wheat cracker. The relationship between the characters, I did not care about. The drama is tedious. And it takes up a lot of the time. Like, the disaster part of the movie, like, the disaster elements, they feel like an afterthought. Taking place in Russia doesn't add anything or make it interesting. The special effects are cheap, and it's a very low budget, very sci-fi level special effects and budget. And, later on when you get some of the disaster scenes, the special effects, there's some practical there, but, a lot of it is bad CGI, and it's just awful to look at. I mean, while, again, there's a few elements of, some practical there with, falling debris or, some debris, but it's just a lot of, really bad CGI that, takes up more of the movie. And, the scenes at the nuclear plant, it's just awful. And, ridiculous, where you have this one guy that works at the plant, he gets injured and he gets blinded, and they're trying to lead this guy, the main character and some other character, this guy who's got eye burns or whatever, his eyes are covered, and they're trying to lead him down an elevator shaft. And it's stupid. It's freaking stupid. And then, an elevator would fall on the guy because he's hanging on to the bottom of an elevator, and the elevator falls and he gets crushed. And then later on, where the supervisor of the plant, he gets in this vehicle, and his vehicle is crushed by fallen concrete. I got a little bit of a chuckle there. And what I forgot to mention was that in the middle of the film, the lead character's daughter and this teacher, they're trapped in this subway station or whatever from the earthquake, and they can't get out, and it's like, who cares? I mean, by the end, they get out anyway. And that's the film. I mean, again, what more? There's not much more to say here with this movie. And apparently this is just one of a few of these movies with the title Nature Unleashed, because you also have Nature Unleashed, Avalanche, Nature Unleashed, Volcano. And it's just these very cheap, low budget disaster movies that are just, it just sucks. And I had to look up this director. I can't pronounce this director's last name, but looking up this director here, he directed The Gate with Steven Dorff. Yeah, that little horror film from back in the 80s. The Gate, yeah, he directed that. He also directed the TV movie for Sabrina the Teenage Witch with Melissa Joan Hart, which was before the series, or it came out the same year as the show started. And he also directed 2 episodes of The Crow, the TV show, Stairway to Heaven. So this guy has an interesting filmography, but yeah, this movie is just awful. I don't recommend it to anybody, and it was a chore to sit through. It was really hard. It was tough to sit through, and I felt with each passing second like it was just my brain was shutting down. And I remember that the day I was watching the film, I was just ready for it to be over. But with that being said, let me get to my final thoughts on the movie. And at the end of the day, the combination of bad acting, weak disaster scenes, and awful dialogue made this a chore to sit through. And it's headache-inducing. So those are my thoughts on Nature Unleashed, Earthquake. And if I were to rate this film on a scale to 1 to 10, this is a 1. This is a flat-out 1. But yeah, that's it for now. Thank you, Meteor Limeade, for the review request. I hope you had fun torturing me. But that's it for now. Thank you for watching, and have a good day.